Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Cheltenham Racecourse here on Wednesday. It is March the 13th, 2019. I'm going to look at all the races on day 2 of the festival, but before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKid5 for more selections for race courses around the world. Also, join me the rest of the week for some more Cheltenham tips and previews. Day 2 of the festival, can't wait for it. You can make some money with this card, but let's recap day 1. Day 1, the word I would use to explain it would be just randomness at times, because the champion hurdle. I thought Mellon was past his prime, but he proved otherwise, that he still had it, and the old boy went away with it. Bavard Air and Apples Jade just didn't show up. Disappointing, but some other races were a little random. Some of the races were right on top, and then you had some few kind of mishaps here and there. But we did have 2 winners yesterday and 2 decent price winners, so hopefully we can keep the momentum going to Wednesday's card. So we're gonna look at all the races. Let's get up to it and get on to it. The first race, the 130 from Cheltenham, it's the Grade 1 Ballymore Novices Hurdle. Grade 1 race for Class 1 horses, going for a purse of $160,000. Race for novice 4-year-olds and upwards. A field of 16 horses going 4,200 meters or 2 miles and 5/8 over the hurdle course. My top selection here, it's a 2-horse race between the lower priced favorites here. I'm going to use the 2-horse Battle Over Doyen as a top selection. I'm going to go 2-7-14 in the Tricast trifecta. 2-7-14 Tricast trifecta. I give a trifecta or a tricast out because basically that's my top 3. So say the 2-horse Battle of Doyen is going to be a withdrawn for some strange reason. My top selection would be the 7-horse Champ. Say for some strange reason he's withdrawn out of it, the first 2. My top selection then would be the number 14 horse Sam's Profile. So that's how I do it. Those are the top 3 horses I think in this race. And one thing I forgot to mention, there's a possibility this card could be abandoned and be run on Saturday, because there's going to be quite a bad storm coming up on Tuesday into Wednesday with the wind and stuff. So there's an 8 a.m. inspection. Hopefully it all passes so they can run Wednesday, but if not, they're going to be running this fixture on Saturday, which I like. But then it's going to take away one of my favorite races of the year, the Midlands Grand National, which you can join me here on YouTube for some tips and previews for that race. But that's on Saturday. But with that being said, let me get back to my top selection here. The 2-horse Battle of Doyen, Battle Over Doyen. This 6-year-old gelding by Doyen. Jack Kennedy gets the leg up for Gordon Elliott. This horse's most recent outing came the 6th of January at Naas. 2 miles and 1/2 in the Grade 1 Laurelers of Naas Novice Hurdle, and the horse won by 2 3/4 lengths. He went away with it. His last jump was great. He jumped well throughout the race, and it was an all-around great effort there. Before that, the 16th of December at Navan, 2 miles in the main hurdle, he won by 13, and again, he just took off clear and destroyed that group of horses. It wasn't the toughest group, but first over the jumps, it was a good run. And then a Punchestown and a bumper, 2 miles, November the 28th. The horse won by 6.5, and again, he jumped well. He's stepping up to the 2 mile 5/8 trip today. Shouldn't be a problem. Should get around the race course well, and I think he's coming to this race very well, so I'll use him as top selection. The 7-horse Champ, he's the favorite in this one. He scares me a little bit, but I could give you some more. I just don't think he's going to stay the trip. He did win at the trip at Warwick back in May, but that was against some tougher horses. His last race, he did win a Grade 1 at Newbury back right before New Year's, but it was a very, he just ran very weirdly that day. I don't like to see a run like that right before you go to Cheltenham, and especially off a break. He didn't jump that well, few from home. He kind of, jiggled around in the stretch, and it was just a weird run. I did not like the way he looked there. I'm not sure about the trip, and he just scares me. He's either going to run a massive race or he's going to just not run at all. I have him for second, but I think a better horse here is the 2-horse Battle of Doyen. He's my top selection. So to recap my selections for the first 130 from Cheltenham, it is the Grade 3 Ballymore Novices Hurdle. I'm going to go with the 2-horse Battle Over Doyen. I'm going to go 2-7-14 in the Tricast trifecta to race 2. Race number 2, the 210 from Cheltenham. It is the Grade 1 RSA Insurances Novice Chase. It's a Grade 1 race for Class 1 horses, going for a purse of $224,000. Races for novice 5-year-olds and upwards. Field of 12 horses staying the 3-mile trip over the Chase course. Top selection here, I'll take the 8-horse Santini. I'm going to go 8-2-10 in the TriCast trifecta. 8-2-10 TriCast trifecta. Top selection, 8-horse Santini. 7-year-old gelding by Milan. Nico de Boinville's on this one for Nicky Henderson. The horse's most recent appearance came on Boxing Day at Kempton. Yielding ground, good to soft ground, and the 3-mile Grade 1 Quota Star Novices Chase. And the horse finished third by 3.5 lengths there. He jumped okay in certain portions of the race, but he just never quickened up. He just never had the good run in, and I think that cost him the victory. He just wasn't 100% fresh there. Before that, first off the break on the 1st of December at Newbury, 2 miles 7/8 in the Grade 2 John Franco Novice Chase, and that day the horse took off clear. He won by 4 lengths. He jumped well, went away with it. It was a very good run. And then before that, at Aintree on the 13th of April, 3 miles 1/8 in the Grade 1 Dunbar Sefton Novices Hurdle. Last over the hurdles, he did well. He won by 1.5 lengths, jumped well, very easy victory. He ran here at the festival last year over the hurdles in the 3-mile Grade 1 Albert Bartlett's Novice Hurdle, and as the very heavy favorite, he finished third by 4.5 lengths, and he just didn't show up. But I think, coming here back to the Chase is the longer trip. I think he'll really get something going just throughout that last one. Maybe the weather had something to do with the go at Kempton. He's going to like a little bit of a softer ground. A little bit. The ground last time out was good to soft on the hurdles course, on the Chase course at Kempton. So maybe he didn't like that. But here it's going to be a little bit softer, and I think that's going to be the key to this horse's victory, because his best runs have come over soft ground, and he has won here at Cheltenham in the past. Most recently, in January of 2018. It was over the hurdles, though. 2.5 miles in the Grade 2 Ballymore Classic Novices Hurdle. The horse won by 3/4 length at 4-1. He jumped a great race, quickened up nicely, went up the hill nicely. It was a very good run. So he could get up the final furlong, which I really like to see. And I think he's gonna run a big race here, just throughout that last run. So to recap my selections for the second, the 210 from Cheltenham, it's Grade 1 RSA Insurance Novices Chase. Gonna go with the 8-horse Santini. Gonna go 8-2-10 in the TriCast trifecta. The 250, the third race from Cheltenham, it's the Grade 3 Coral Cup Handicap Hurdle. It's a Grade 3 race for Class 1 horses, going for a purse of $128,000. Races for 4-year-olds and upwards. We have a overall field of 28 horses. The 27 and 28 are also eligible as a reserve, so only 26 could go the distance of ground here of 4,200 meters, or 2 miles and 5/8 over the hurdle course. Top selection here, since it's a wide open race, I'll give you 2 horses that I think can win. Both horses will definitely be used in the place pot, which paid a shit ton of money on Tuesday, and I'll probably put both of them in exacta box or a small each way wager on both of them. But the 2 horses I like here are going to be the 2-horse Vision de Flows and the 8-horse Diamond Chassoise. Hopefully I said that right. But I'm going to go 2-8 here. But the first horse I'll talk about is it's 2-horse Vision de Flows. This 12-1 6-year-old gelding by Blocko. Robbie Power picks up the mount for Colin Tizard. The horse's most recent outing came at Fontwell a few weeks ago on yielding ground, 2 miles 3/8 in the Grade 2 National Spirit Hurdle, and the horse won by 1.5 lengths there. He jumped well, quickened up nicely. It was a very good race at 7-2 for this horse, beating the favorite Little, beating Little Rockfellow, who actually won the festival last year. But I don't think I like the way he's coming back here today. He's running this race, by the way, Little Rockfellow. But this horse really ran a good race at Fontwell. Before that, when Canton on the 16th of February, 1 mile 7/8 in the Grade 2 Kingwell Hurdle, the horse finished third by 1 1/4 lengths there. He jumped well, had a little bit of a turn of the foot. If it was your standard 2 miles, he would have had a little extra kick to get the victory. But it was 1 mile 7/8, which was a little shorter than the 2 miles, and I think he just needed that a little extra kick. And then before that, enlisted hurdle at Sandown, 2 miles February the 2nd. The horse finished second by 2 lengths. It was his first off a little bit of break. He needed the race, just couldn't get the good closing kick, but he didn't run half bad either. He's making his 4th start in 5 weeks, which is quite unusual for American standards, but in the UK it's not so uncommon. Doesn't scare me a lot. I think he's going to be a very fresh horse, a very fit horse, and I think get around the race course well, even with the high weight of 165 pounds. He has started here at Cheltenham in the past in the Grade 2 Univet International Hurdle back on the 15th of December, going on good to soft ground, going the 2 mile 1/8 trip over the over the hurdles, where he finished 5th by 6 3/4 lengths. He just kind of weakened out of it a few from home, but he did get around the race course well. in the earlier stages of the race. I like him a lot here at 12 to 1, a horse you definitely want to use in the place pot, along with the 8 horse Diamond Courtois. Hopefully I said that right again. No Feely gets on this one for Gordon Elliott, this 8-year-old gelding by Crillian. This horse hasn't been seen since the Punchestown Festival back in April of 2018 on yielding ground, 3 miles in the Grade 1 Champion Stayers Hurdle. The horse finished 6th by 31 lengths there, and he did not stay the 3-mile trip. He never got into it, never was into it. I can't stress that enough. He just didn't show up. Before that, in the Irish Strawberry Hurdle at Ferry House, 2.5 miles, April the 2nd, the horse finished second by 5.5 lengths there, and he jumped well, had a decent turn of foot. It was a good run there. And then before that, at Navan back in February of 2018, 2 miles 5/8 in Ireland, Boyne Hurdle. The horse won by 9 lengths. He jumped well. It was a very good race. I like the 2 mile 5/8 trip today. But the question with him is he 100% fit to win here at Cheltenham? I'm going to take the chances that he is, because like I said, other than that subpar race at Punchestown, he did jump well last year during the later stages of last year's jumping season. I'm going to take him here at 15 to 1. He's either going to run a massive race or he's going to lose by a lot. Horse, I'll take the chance. It's gambling. So to recount my selection for the third, the 250 from Cheltenham, it's the Grade 3 Coral Cup Handicap Hurdle. I'll take the 2 horse Vision de Flows, and I'll take the 8 horse Diamond Courtois. So I'll go 2-8 here, put them to an exact box, maybe a small each way wager on both of them, but I'll definitely put them in the place pot. So now let's get to the featured 4th race from the 4th race featured on today's program from Cheltenham. It is the Grade 1 Queen Mother Champion Chase. It's a Grade 1 race for Class 1 horses, going for a purse of $512,000. This race for 5-year-olds and upwards. Field of 9 horses going 3,200 meters or 2 miles over the chase course. Top selection here, I'm going to take the 1 horse Altior. He looks very hard to beat, and I'm trying not to pick away from him. But for the place pot here, I'll give you a horse that I would use there, and the horse I would use in the place pot would be the 8 horse St. Calvados. I think he's a horse that could possibly, a small chance possibly upset, but he's a horse that can definitely place here. But I'll go 185 in the tricast trifecta. 185 tricast trifecta. Top selection, 1 horse Altior, 9-year-old gelding by High Chaparral. Nico de Boinville gets the leg up on this one for Nicky Henderson. The horse's most recent outing came the 19th of January at Ascot, 2 miles and 1/8, and the Grade 1 Clarence House Chase, and the horse won by 7 there. He only had 2 other rivals, and he just took off clear. It was a very good run. Before that, at Kempton in the Desert Orchid Chase, going the 2-mile trip on the 27th of December, the horse, put on another show that day. Probably his best race lifetime, I think. He won by 19. He was like he was just out for a stroll in the park. Jumped well. It doesn't get any easier than that. And then the Tingle Creek at Sandown, a mile 15, 16, December the 8th. The horse won by 4. First race off the break. He did have to work a little bit at the end, but he still won very nicely. And then he won the Grade 1 Celebration Chase at Sandown last April very nicely by 3 1/4 lengths. Another race he had to work a little bit at the end, but he still won quite nicely. I think he's coming this race a lot better than he did last year. He did win this race last year by 7, and he just again put on another show. Like I said, he looks very hard to beat here. I'll use him as top selection, but a win wager on him doesn't make sense, so we'll have to hit the tricast. But if you're going to play the place pot, I think the 8 horse St. Calvados is a horse that could really get a piece of it. Get Gavin Sheehan in the saddle, this 6-year-old gelding by Sante Saints. This horse's most recent outing came the Dublin Chase at Leopardstown a few weeks ago, going the 2 mile and 1/8 journey, and he finished 3rd by 12 lengths. He just couldn't get the good closing kick, but he jumped early on in the effort. Before then, the Tingle Creek at Sandown, he finished 3rd by 19 lengths behind Altior, and he just couldn't get into it early on. And then his last victory came in the Grade 3 Popular Square Chase at Naas back in November. He won by 4.5, and he took off clear. He's a horse that should like the going, and he's a horse, he gets upset a small chance, but he's a horse, like I said, you definitely want to use him in the place pot. I know I would. But to recap my selection for the 4th from Cheltenham, the 330, it's the Grade 1 Queen Mother Chase. Gonna go with the 1 horse Altior. I'm gonna go 185 in the tricast trifecta. Like I said, I used the 8 horse and the place pot. That's gonna be your only way to make money with this race, and hitting the tricast, of course. So now let's get to race number 5. The fifth race, the 410 from Cheltenham. It's one of my favorite races of the festival. It is the Glenfarclas Chase. It's a cross-country chase going for Class 2 horses, going for a purse of $83,000, race for 5-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 16 horses going 3 miles and 3/4 over the chase course, or the cross-country course. So it's 3 miles, 6 furlongs here. Will we see the winner of the Grand National run this race? Well, we did last year. Tiger Roll won this race to go on to win the Grand National. He's running back in this race today, but I can't take him at 6-5 in a very wide open race. Just can't. It's just he's very vulnerable, especially at that price. So as a top selection, I'll take the 10 horse Josie's Order. I'll go 10-1-13 in the TriCash trifecta. That's the top three. 10-1-13. I'll talk about the top two here, but the first horse to talk about is 10 horse Josie's Order. 8-1, 11-year-old gelding by Milan. Mark Walsh picks up the mount for this one. The horse's most recent outing came the 10th of February at Punchestown, 3 miles and 1/8 in the cross-country race, and he did everything right. He won by 2 lengths. He jumped well, got over the difficult obstacles well. It was a very good effort off the break. Before that, here at Cheltenham in a Class 2 handicap chase back in December, going a 3 mile 3/4 trip, he finished third by 2 lengths. He had a very good turn of foot at the end. He got up the hill well. For the turn of foot he had going 3 miles 6 furlongs that day at the end, it was a good effort. And then he ran across country here at Cheltenham back in November, going the 3 mile 3/4 trip, same distance as today, and he won by 3/4 length. He stayed the distance well. He got around the difficult obstacles. It was a very good effort, beating Tiger's Roll, by the way, shall we say. So he has won over this course already. He's come in this race very well, and I think he's sitting on the race of a lifetime. So at 8-1, I'll be going to the window on him. He's going to be my best bet of the day. I'll also use the one horse Amazing Comedy, coming in from France. It's 9-year-old gelding by the Great Pretender. Not Freddie Mercury, Great Pretender, or the song from the 50s, but the horse, the Great Pretender. 9-year-old gelding here. Jonathan Pluganu gets a leg up. This horse had a race at Poe most recently on the 13th of January, 3 miles and 1/8 in a cross country, and he didn't finish the race there. He fell a few from home. What can you say? That was Poe has a very tough cross country course. Before that at Cheltenham, 3 miles 3/4 in a Class 2 handicap chase, and he finished fourth by 2 lengths. And that's the same race Josie's Order ran into. And this is the horse Josie's Order caught at the wire, where he was closing up well. This horse jumped well, just lacked a little bit of closing kick, but he got around the race course well first off the break, and then at Compiègne and a cross country chase back in November, the horse won by 18. It was just a very easy race. He'll stay the distance. He's gonna have to overcome the high weight, but he's a horse that, at 20-1, I'll definitely a horse you want to use in your place pot. And another horse I'll use here, not use, but I'll talk about is 13 horse Tiger Roll. Last year he came in this race well. This year, he won his last one at Navan, but I think he's very vulnerable at 6-5. I just can't take him. Out of all the horses today that are going to be vulnerable favorites, I think he's the most vulnerable favorite on the whole card. Because last year he won this race very nicely, and he won this race. He likes Cheltenham a lot, but he just doesn't look right. His last one wasn't the best run. Even though he won, it just doesn't. He just didn't look comfortable. And then before then, the cross country here at Cheltenham back in November, he didn't look well. He didn't win the national very nicely, and won this race nice last year. But I just do not like him at 6-5. I'm not going to take him here as a win wager. If I got beat by him, I'd get beat by him. But I think I found better prices here. But to recap my selection for the 5th, the 410 from Cheltenham, it is the Glenfarclas Chase, the cross country chase here. The best visual race of the week, I think. My top selection, I'm going to take the 10 horse Josie's Order. I'll go 10-1-13 in the TriCash trifecta. I'll use the 10 and the 1 definitely in the place pot. So now let's get to race number 6, the 450 from Cheltenham. It is the Grade 3 Boodles Juvenile Handicap Hurdle. It's a Grade 3 race for Class 1 horses, going for a purse of $102,500. Races for juvenile 4-year-olds here. We have a field of 24 horses. Only 22 can run, so the 23 and 24 are also eligibles or reserves. So we have a field of not many horses going 3,200 meters or 2 miles over the hurdle course. top selection, very wide open race. I'll give you two horses I think can win. The two horses I like here are the 7-horse Got Trumped, and the 20-horse Sorelita. So 720 here. I'll probably put him into the lucky 15 or the place pot, and I'll probably use them in the what do you call that? The exacta box, forecast box. But the first horse I'll talk about is the 7-horse Got Trumped. I didn't get trumped. I voted for Clinton. Truthfully, I did. I don't like the guy we have in our White House here in America, but that's for another day. But the 7-horse Got Trumped. Robbie Power gets on this one for Jessica Harrington's 4-year gelding By the Way You Are. The horse's most recent outing came the 3rd of February at Leopardstown, 2 miles in the Grade 1 Irish Spring Juvenile Hurdle. The horse finished 6th by 11 lengths there, and he just never jumped with them. That was a very tough group of horses, and he just didn't keep up with them. Before then, in Juvenile Hurdle at Ferry House, 2 miles, January the 12th, he finished 4th by 13 lengths there, and he jumped well, but he just needed that extra kick at the end. And then the Grade 3 Frank Knight Juvenile Hurdle at Leopardstown, 2 miles, December the 18th, December the 26th. What the fuck am I saying? December the 26th at Leopardstown. The horse finished 3rd by 3 3/4 lengths there. Again, he jumped well, but just lacks the good closing kicks at the end. If this horse could have a good running, I think he's going to sit on a good race. Coming here to Cheltenham today, Cheltenham is the kind of place where you can see randomness, and you have seen randomness in this race in years past. This seems like the kind of horse that could be random. He has run a very good race in the past. I gave a Punchestown, which is a very tough place to jump around. 2 miles in the Juvenile Hurdle. The horse went by 2 3/4 as a 7-2 favorite. He beat a tough group of horses home. It was a very good run, and even before that, in Juvenile Maiden Hurdle at Ferry House, he won. He finished 2nd by 2 3/4 lengths. He jumped well, had a very good run. I think I like the softer ground, and I think if he could get the running correctly, I think he's going to be sitting on a massive race. So at 15-1, I'll take the chance with him, along with the number 20 horse La Sororita, this 4-year-old filly by Marteline, the filly taking on the boys. Willie Mullins Trans gets the younger Mullins in the saddle. The horse's most recent outing came the 10th of February at Punchestown, 2 miles in the Class 1 listed novice hurdle. The horse finished 4th by 17 lengths there, and he just couldn't keep up with them, never got into it. The ground was drier than he expected. I think this is the kind of horse that would love the soft ground, because all the races this horse run on very wet ground. He's, just loved it. Before that, at Ferry House, 2 miles in the Juvenile Hurdle, he finished 3rd by 12 lengths, and again, he just couldn't get the good closing kick. He jumped well, but the ground was too dry. And then at Leopardstown in the Grade 3 the Knight Frank Juvenile Hurdle, he finished 4th by 6 1/4 lengths there, and he had a few mistakes at the last few flights, which cost him. But before that, he was running in France at Clairefontaine in a Juvenile Hurdle July the 21st, where he finished 3rd by 2.5 lengths, jumped around there, and then he broke his mane at Clairefontaine very easily. July 2nd Juvenile Hurdle, won by 5 on very heavy ground. He loved every bit of it. He's going to see very similar ground today, and I think at 20-1 back to soft ground, he's a horse that's very live, so I'll use him here as a selection. And a horse you definitely want to use in the Lucky 15s or the place pod. Why do you keep saying Lucky 15s? But to recap my selection for the 6th 450 from Cheltenham, it's the Grade 3 Boodles Juvenile Handicap Hurdle. I'll use the 7-horse Got Trumped, and I'll use the 20-horse here, La Sorelita. So 720 here. I'll put them into the exacta box, forecast box, maybe a small each way wager on both of them, but I'll definitely use them in the place pod. So let's get to the 7th. The nightcap from Cheltenham here on Wednesday, the 5:30, the 7th race. It is the Grade 1 Champion Bumper. Grade 1 race for Class 1 horses, going for a purse $96,000. Race for 4, 5, and 6-year-olds only, which have never run under any recognized rules of racing except the National Hunt Flat races and blah, 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 blah. Field of 14 horses going 3,200 meters or 2 miles here over the flat course, which is the hurdle course without the hurdles. This is a race, it's not my favorite race in the world because it's a very difficult race, but there is one angle that I like to use in this race. Flat riders riding in it, because they have a pretty good record here. So with that being said, I'm going to use the 7-horse Meticulous as a top selection. Donick O'Brien gets on this one for Joseph O'Brien, this 5-year-old gelding by Flame and Glory, or Fame and Glory, not flame like in fire flame, but this horse's most recent outing came at Leopardstown during their big festival back in April in the Grade 2 Matheson bumper. He finished 2nd by 1 1/4 lengths. He stayed the distance well. He just didn't good neck in front at the end, but he got around the race course well. It was a decent run. Before that, the horse ran at Leopardstown on the 28th of December, 2 miles in a bumper National Hunt Flat race. He finished fourth by 5 lengths there, and he got around the race course well. Just couldn't get the good closing kick, but it was a decent fourth. And then at Killarney back in July in a bumper, he won by 9, quickened up nicely. It was a very good run. So he can stay the distance. He has a good weight, and I think he'll run well. Dominic O'Brien, was champion rider last year. Getting up isn't a half bad thing either, because like I said, flat riders have a good record in this race. Most recently a flat rider winning this race was Jamie Spencer in 2002 on Pizarro. It's they have done it in the past. I'll take the chance with this one here today at 7-1. So to recap my selection for the second, the 130 it goes off 1:30 here in America, here in New York City, but it goes off 5:30 locally at Cheltenham. The 7th race, the Grade 1 champion bumper. My top selection will be the 7th horse, Meticulous. So good luck to all. Please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kit 5 for more selections for race courses around the world, and also join me Thursday for some more Cheltenham previews and selections. Good luck, everybody.